All right, welcome everybody to the live stream. Going to take a look at a few crypto charts here with the MDX ALGO indicators. As always, feel free to ask any questions about the settings, the features, and that sort of thing. I will do my best to answer them. If you are here live with me, if you figure you might have some background noise, please do me a favor and just keep your mic muted unless you wish to speak. Just in case you do have some noise or anything. Sometimes it's hard for people to hear. If you are getting noise from someone specifically, you have to go in and I think you can right click on them and mute them or whatever. But yeah, other than that, feel free to hop in whenever, ask questions, whether it's about the indicator, just charting in general, really anything. We're just here to have a good time, talk crypto. So with that, we're going to hop right into it. I do see some new faces here, so welcome to the community. You've probably already noticed even the Discord. It's just a super supportive, fun community. And yeah, we have these beautiful indicators to go with it. So just to kind of go through my settings here, I say this quite often that I don't always have those long and short signals. So if you don't see those, that's why. With my chart, I just like to kind of do my own analysis, and if I have these signals active, I'm less likely to do my own analysis first and then use the indicator as confirmation, which is what I like to do because in the end, this is easily my favorite indicator that I've ever used. However, it is still an indicator, so it's to be used with your own confluence, your own analysis. So this is just me personally. Know your enemy. I am my own enemy, and this will create me to have FOMO if I have the signals. So I just like to kind of have all the other, some of these other signals active on the charts, and from there I can make a decision. So yeah, this is kind of how I have my settings. Generally speaking, I know I'm pretty vocal in the group there. I usually trade the 5 or 15 minute chart, but the beautiful thing with these indicators is that you can have this chart trend confluence, so that's where you can add a second trend. So I'll get more into that in a little bit. But yeah, just basically looking at the 4 hour here, we have some pretty interesting price action actually. I do gotta say I'm seeing a bit of conflicting signals, I guess. We have the oscillator 4 up here, obviously looking quite overbought in my opinion. We had these early reversal warning signs, and it has continued to climb up, so we're just starting to see some bearish divergences there, so that's something to consider. On top of that, we had this trend exhaustion warning. However, interestingly enough, after that, we got this bullish engulfing candle. It actually set a new higher high here. And to go with that, it looks like we wicked and actually retested that. So that could actually be a beautiful resistance to support flip. I just want you to be cautious just because, like I said, these indicators are looking a little bit overextended. The ALGO 3 looks beautiful to me, just that we do have, on the 4 hour chart here, it did map out this green demand box. I'm going to refer to the supply and demand boxes as resistance and support because honestly it's just easier to keep straight for a lot of people that way, and myself included. That just helps me not get tongue-tied as much. So that's how I look at it anyways. That's how I map out my own resistance and support. So I was talking last video about how I barely do my own analysis anymore since these latest updates. It's wild to me how these indicators just automatically map things out, and that would be this supply demand checkbox here. That would be my green and red boxes here. I just changed the color because that's how I want to look at it. But yeah, I've been in a lot of my videos in the past, I've kind of talked about how I like to look at structure. How, let's say for example, we have a high and then we make a higher high. I like to look at the lowest point between those two to look at where our new higher low is. And that's where I'm typically looking for support, and this has automatically mapped this out for me. Same with here. I mean, we had this high here and then we obviously broke it. The lowest point between those two is here. It's just mapping out support the way I like to look at support. So I've barely been doing my own analysis lately. Like I know you still should. I like to still look for my own diagonal lines, and I still do confirm that it is mapping out what I want to. But it's just crazy to me how it just constantly updates, especially for someone who wants to multitask and you don't want to be constantly updating your charts, especially if you trade on degenerate time frames like myself. Sometimes it's time consuming when you're constantly mapping out new support and resistance because it changes very rapidly in crypto, and it's very cool to see this do this for us. But getting back to the analysis of Bitcoin, we do have this little, I don't know if you can see that, we have this little blue triangle here. That's a potential bottom, and that basically would have been, it would have made this signal here when we got this big engulfing candle next to it. It would have said that, hey, based on this reaction, basically, there's the potential that this is actually now our new higher low. So we're going to have to see what happens. Like I said, I love that we engulfed this little range here. That being said, don't be too shocked if we do see that pullback from those bearish divergences, guys. The one thing that's nice is I'm not too worried about Bitcoin right now. I mean, if you look at what this indicator's thinking on the 4-hour here, like we just have a ton of support below us. We obviously do have some resistance up ahead as well. But just look at all that green that's coming in on this indicator. Not only these demand boxes here where people are demanding to buy, basically, is what that comes from. Not just are we getting this support boxes mapped out here, but also the moving average here. This would be the 21 EMA on the 4-hour chart. This squiggly one is the trend confluence, so that would be a longer time frame. I can't remember what it is because I do have it set to automatic. So I'm not sure what chart actually is being used here. I'm not sure if it's using the confluence of the daily chart or the 12-hour chart, whatever. It comes from a larger time frame. So I was actually saying on Friday that something to be aware of is that I think it was when we were about here, this indicator or this trend confluence flipped. And on the 4-hour, that's pretty significant. I mean, you can see, yes, we did have this little fake out switch here, but I mean, you can see how long this trend confluence goes back to, all the way back to November. We're basically going on a couple months that we've been below that, other than this one little, basically just this one little area right here. Other than that, basically 2 months of being below that trend confluence. So that is very significant that we are above that. And yeah, that's just beautiful. I'm sure if I turn on the signals, we will see some sort of a long signal. It'll probably even say strong because these two are lining up. Never got the strong signal yet. We do have a long signal here. So I saw somebody in the group chat mention that we have these strong signals now, and basically most of you are probably well aware, but for those of you new to the group or just the new updates or anything like that, basically you get the strong signals when your current chart EMA matches up and agrees with your trend confluence. Typically speaking, I haven't really back tested the 4-hour chart much with this, so it's looking to me like most of these strongs, yes, you could have absolutely sniped some profits, but they actually weren't all that significant compared to the regular short ones. So I personally like to use the 5-minute or the 15-minute chart with the 1-hour trend confluence, just because, like I said, I like trading the shorter time frames, but then I have an idea of at least the hourly chart. So that's how I use those, and I'll get into that later after I look at the general idea of what's going on in the markets here. I'm going to actually zoom out a little further and look at my weekly chart here. A lot of you guys will know this as my Bitcoin cheat sheet. With the indicators here, this is quite interesting. I know the past few streams I've been talking about this green horizontal line. This basically goes back to here. I just want to clean this up a little bit, get rid of these signals once again, just because it's kind of in my way here. But basically going back to this structure, again, these are weekly candles. This is all the way back to our market cycle all-time high in 2017. So I just kind of mapped out this line for one, because we did have this touch point. And again, yes, this is just one touch point. This hasn't been tested a whole bunch or anything like that, so keep that in mind. However, this is a weekly candle, so there is some significance to this little pullback that we had in finding support at that level, as well, just matching up with these candle bodies back here and that sort of thing. I was like, I was under the impression that, we're probably going to drop lower after that FTX debacle. I thought absolutely we might drop to 10K because there's so much beautiful support down here, as well as other reasons, which I've talked about many times, and I will in a sec here. But something to consider is that this could actually be some support. It was significant right at this level. Like I said, it was only once, but the thing with that is that this was basically some of the only consolidation that we had on that parabolic bull run. You can see that we really only stopped a few times for consolidation. And this was one of those levels, so we have to consider that this could be a level of support. And basically, that's exactly what's been happening so far. We even got this nice little double bottom along it. We do even have this failed break, so we did lose the support, but it was just a fake out, just the wicks. The candle bodies have not closed below this level. So I think we absolutely have to consider the possibility that the market does not have to go lower. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. I will change my opinion with the charts. Never get too emotionally set to what you think is going to happen, because in the end, the market does not give a shit what we think or what we want. So being able to react is far more important than being able to predict. And this is one of those times where look at the market react to this level. I think it is absolutely a level of interest. I have mentioned many times that something to go against this is that typically speaking, Bitcoin loves to do 85% corrections. We have not had that yet. We dropped about 77%. If we dropped all the way to 10K, we would be getting that 85% full bear market cycle reset. So that is another thing to consider with that level, as well as all that structure down there. So absolutely, it could be in the cards, but it doesn't have to be. So we just got to be diligent. One other thing that I still think is quite important with the macro here is what happened in the RSI. Typically speaking, Bitcoin loves to bottom, well, basically as soon as the RSI gets oversold on the weekly. That's quite often a bear market bottom. You can see it happened here, and you can see it happened here, outlined with these green dotted lines. Something else that happened with the RSI, however, is that we had, where I have these pink lines here, these pink vertical lines, that's where the RSI broke out, and it actually broke out before the price really reacted, so it was a bit of an early warning signal. You can see in our previous bear market, this also happened. I mean, that was a perfect early indication that shit was going to go parabolic. And we have had that this market cycle as well, kind of the same looking downtrend line with 3 touch points in the RSI there. We broke out, got this resist support flip just like the price. I like to see the same thing in the indicators. And then the RSI isn't going back into oversold condition. It's actually starting to bounce off where should be a support level. So the RSI is definitely something to consider here. That's pointing that we might have some bullish price action coming. And especially, like I said, this was already a line of interest to me. So the fact that all we had was a fake out, very interesting there. Something else I want to point out with the indicator here on the ALGO 3, we have this reversal warning. That's what the orange W is. And those have been quite good in the past. I mean, some of these moves are fairly small, but you can see that quite often that's a beautiful indication, early warning sign, just like it says, that the market was about to reverse. Here was another beautiful one, obviously. Even ones like this, I wouldn't call those a failure, because on a weekly time frame, I mean, that is some significant price action, a 30% pump there. So even if we got that here, you would be looking at over 20,000 US dollars, and that would actually line up perfectly with this resistance here. But yeah, just again pointing out some of these W's. Obviously some very important levels of interest. Like I said, there's the odd one that fails. Obviously isn't going to work 100% of the time. But that's just another thing to add to our little bag of confluences, is we do have the W while we're trading at a level of interest to me. So yeah, interesting stuff there if you ask me. But yeah, as well, something I want to point out is altcoins are starting to look interesting. They're actually a little more clear as far as potentially being oversold. Sorry, I'm just going to zoom way out here. Let's use Solana, for example, might have this bit of a falling wedge. This is a weekly chart, so any signals from these indicators are going to be quite significant, especially if you can get all 3 of them lining up. That's one thing that's very powerful with these indicators. A lot of you may have noticed When you get all three indicators, the oscillator 4 on top, the oscillator 5 on bottom, as I have it set up, as well as the ALGO 3 in the middle on your candles, you get all three of those lining up and it can be quite powerful. So just kind of looking at where we are here, the oscillator 5 down here, we have this oversold big green dot in a support level here, lining up perfectly with this potential bottom as well as trend exhaustion on the ALGO 3. And that's lining up perfectly with the trend exhaustion and bullish pivot on the oscillator 4 up here. So this is just one altcoin, but I have noticed this across many altcoins. So whether or not the chart looks good, the indicators are at least pointing out that things do look like they're oversold. And as I was talking about, Bitcoin loves to pull back, around 80-85% in a bear market. Altcoins typically like to dump a little harder, so more like 90-95. If we look at something like Solana, I mean, you're looking at a 97% correction. So absolutely, that at that point, why couldn't it be a bottom? It totally makes sense. It's right around that range. Everything's looking oversold as it's already basically dumped 100%. I mean, pretty significant stuff. And that's, like I said, across many altcoins. You can go check them out for yourself, especially if you have these indicators. Quite interesting, because any sort of signal on a weekly chart I am going to take quite seriously. So beautiful that we're starting to see that in the altcoin market. Like I said, Bitcoin showing reasons why it could be in a good position. So all in all, the market's not looking too bad. Like I said, we're starting to look a little overbought on the 4 hour, but we're going to have to see what happens there. Zooming right in to, as I love just these degenerate time frames. I like to look at the 5 minute quite often. Just looking at this is really just micro analyzing things at this point. Like I said, I like to have the 1 hour trend confluence active on auto settings. The 5 minute, the 15 minute, basically anything under an hour is automatically going to use the 1 hour trend confluence. That's what I like to use. So you can see that basically we have this hourly trend confluence down here. That would be this squiggly line here. And that's just basically showing us where the moving average is, where the confluence is of the 1 hour. So even though we're on a degenerate 5 minute chart here, we can have a general idea of what the hourly is doing as well, and where we can expect the bulls to kind of be watching, that sort of thing. It absolutely makes sense that we could end up dumping down to those levels. We do have this potential micro support back here as well. We just tested this EMA. Really, I don't think Bitcoin's in too bad of a position. Just don't be too caught off guard if we do end up dumping a little lower to some lower support levels. Like I said, Bitcoin just looks good. The fact that there is so much support below us. I'm just seeing so much green. On the 4 hour chart especially, there's just so much support below us right now. The EMAs, the trend confluences, the support boxes, it's all just looking good. So I'm personally, even if I'm expecting a bit of a pullback right now, it's hard to say, honestly. But I'm not really interested in catching a short, to be honest. Right now, I would much rather just wait to enter a long after a pullback, more so than I am trying to catch the top. Just because I don't want to stand in front of this trend. Like I said, the 4 hours looking so good that I just don't want to bet against that right now, especially with this engulfing candle. Yes, we do have this resistance up ahead, but that's just not something I want to bet against right now. Would be the bulls. So that's just me personally. I know sometimes I am a bit of a moon boy, and right now could be one of those times. But we're just starting to see some things flip. Also, just looking at this little chart on the side here, that would be, if I bring up the settings, that would be this MTF signal trend. Once again, just another thing with these indicators that kind of helps point out a longer time frame, even though you're on a degenerate time frame like this. So basically, and this should go without saying, but a short-term trend is gonna change momentum before the midterm trend, which is going to change before the macro trend. So right now, another thing that's interesting is we're starting to see these flips. We're seeing the 4 hour is all of a sudden long and bullish. the daily is not long yet, but it has flipped bullish. We're getting this nice little pump here on the 5-min. Weekly hasn't flipped. Oh boy, look at this go. Again, it is a 5-minute. It's obviously just exciting to see some big candles like that. But yeah, cool to see. Look how well that EMA was respected. And now, even if we pull back, we just formed this more potential support, even though it is a shorter time frame. It's just good to see that this indicator is printing more green. We're starting to see more support as we climb. So it's nice to see we're not just getting one big god candle into the sky and then dumping right back down. We're actually, again, micro analyzing here, shorter time frame, but we're actually building some structure. So if the price does pump up and come back down, hopefully it'll at least have some support because we actually have some structure built and there's been trading action in these levels. So I would personally rather see a staircase looks like we are, rather than one big wick and then just coming right back down, obviously. So it's looking fairly healthy right now, to me. I don't know if any of you guys have a different opinion, or does anyone have any questions about the indicators, how I have them set up, what anything does, anything like that. Actually, before I ask that, sorry, one more thing. If you have any visual issues, if your candles look funny, if things are disappearing, you can right click on anything or click the 3 dots by MDX ALGO 3. Make sure your visual order is bring to front. That will clear up any visual issues you potentially have. And as well, if you are using the supply and demand boxes, right click over on the side here and make sure you have scale price chart only. That's something that you should have. If you don't, to be honest, I'm not sure what the difference is, but I was told make sure that that is checked if you're using those. So if you are having any issues, check that those 2 things are done. But any other than that, does anyone have any questions, want to talk about anything? I can also do altcoin requests and that sort of thing if you guys want. Basically, we're just here to have a good time, so the floor is open if anybody wants to suggest anything, ask anything, say anything. And if nobody does have anything, then I'll just start looking at random altcoins for a little bit. Oh, sorry, I see that you guys have found the chat box as well. There is a chat for this channel, so feel free to ask in there as well. I always forget that that's there, so I gotta catch up once in a while here. Yeah, someone.
Hey, Stu, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, stock poker in the house.
Hey, random question, but I've never done it before. So can you show me how to do that legend board?
Oh yes. Basically,
You do that through the website?
yeah, you just sign into your account, and then on the left hand of the side you'll see legend board.
Okay,
and you click on that and it'll bring up whatever competition's going on right now. You can't join late, so I think the weekly ones, they start on Sunday. And basically on the right hand side here, it'll basically just ask if you want to add coins, and you can just add coins, and then it'll just automatically start when the timer is up or whatever. For anybody who's tuning in to my YouTube channel here, not in the live video here, that's just another great little incentive as far as getting involved with this community. Not only are the indicators great, the community is super supportive, super active traders, a lot of value, just excellent traders, all with different strategies and opinions, that sort of stuff. So it's a great community. You have these legend boards, so you can actually earn some money off of these free. It's just a free little fun competition, but you can actually make real money if you win. Obviously there's prizes here, as well as the monthly, there's bigger ones. But that's just a way that you can pretty much pay off the membership. As well, there's referrals if you have friends that are into trading or that kind of thing and want to use these indicators. You can also earn referral fees and that sort of stuff. So you can actually quite easily pay this off itself It's just a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I will have a link in the description down below if anybody is interested in joining the MDX Algo community. You get a 15% discount with my referral. Yes, I get a bit of a bonus. You get a discount. Everybody wins for anybody tuning into my YouTube channel here. And anyone in the live stream, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do me a favor and do that. I appreciate every single like I get on my videos, every subscriber. I'm a small channel, so I notice all that. But yeah, sorry, Stock Poker, got a little sidetracked there. But I think it's on Sunday, you can start a weekly one. Just go to the legend board on the website, and it's pretty straightforward from there. Just fun little competitions. Nobody has to put up any real money, but you can win real money. So really, it's win freaking win if you're in there.
But you can't do it beforehand. You got to catch it, and where it says like it's going to start in 4 days, which would be, I think, Sunday.
Yeah, it should be Sunday. Holy smokes, look at Bitcoin go. That's a 4-hour candle there.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
That's exciting. Awesome. Cool. Good to see some life coming from the bulls. Like I said, the 4-hour, we are trading into resistance, so be careful if anyone's thinking about FOMOing in here. The indicator is thinking that there's a bit of resistance here. Let's just check some random time frames here since shit's volatile right now. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of freestyling because now we got to check what all the time frames are doing. Zoom out to the hourly chart here. You can see we've recently, just earlier today, we did form this potential support down below as well. Again, we do have resistance coming up around that 18.1, 18.2K according to this indicator. Let's just zoom out again to the 4-hour. The thing is, guys, if we clear this red box here, Bitcoin could be seeing some significant upside. The top of this box would be, yeah, if we clear 18.5, I know that's a little ways away for now yet, but that could be a clear shot. Let's see, where do we have resistance next? Our next lower high here would be kind of around that 21.4. Where the indicator is mapping out this supply zone or resistance, as I'm going to call it. That's quite a ways away yet. That would be, again, looking at a 30% move. I know I was showing that on my weekly chart there. Yeah, Bitcoin could be growing some legs here for the short to midterm. Just want to turn off the indicators for a second. Map out some random stuff of my own here. So we are sorry guys, I will catch up on the chat in a little bit here. I just feel the need to do some random freestyle analysis here, so I will get back to some of the questions that I see there. Let's map out a random, see. That's another interesting line of resistance that we might come up to here fairly soon. That actually lines up pretty much perfect with that resistance there. So there is some confluence in that level there. You can see we have two resistance levels mapped out. Again, around that 18.2, 18.3K, somewhere in there. So that would definitely be a level I'd be watching. If we get a third touch point here, pull back, and then break it the fourth time, and then flip this resistance to support, I think it would only be a matter of time until we would start testing some of these levels above 20K. The price could get pretty exciting here, guys. Something else that I did notice in the chart actually is we basically had this double bottom. You know what? There's no basically about it. We had an absolutely perfect double bottom back here. So something to consider is that, that is technically a bottoming pattern. We had this bullish reversal on the oscillator 4. We had the double bottom in our chart here, we had these bullish divergences showing up in the oscillator 5 down here in a support zone. What was the ALGO 3 saying? I mean, there was a bunch of take profits from the short, the warnings of the reversals. That was obviously a very important level in the market. So the fact that we have been climbing since then actually looks pretty good. I would really like to see us get above this level, actually. Because I could see us, again, just going to how I look at structure. I mean, we had this low here, and then we did have a lower low. So our highest point between those 2 points was this level. So let's just humor me here and say that maybe this white line is our resistance. Something that may line up quite nicely with that would be if we are in some kind of a rising wedge, which could still technically be a bearish pattern, and we're just going to test the upside of it again. From this touch point here, second touch point here, might be getting a third touch point. Again, lining up with this kind of little bit, it is just one touch point, but just the way the structure is from this dump, that was our lower high. So a level to be taken into consideration is all. And the fact that, so let's go with this upward rising wedge, potentially resistance line mapped out with that lower high. I mean, again, we just have a few different things showing that potential resistance up ahead. So just be cautious moving ahead, guys. Watch for a failed break if you get some kind of a wick above this level. Something like this, and then respect this as resistance once again. Yeah, you know, things might start looking a little bit more juicy on the downside rather than the upside. But as it stands right now, like I said, I love that the 4-hour candle did actually engulf this high back here and getting that perfect retest. I mean, man, that played out beautifully. Just going to go back here. Thump case. Can you explain what the oscillator 5 is showing? What time frame did you want me to look at the oscillator 5? Looking at the 4-hour right now, for example, I would say I'm seeing a bearish divergence just because we're getting, well, we have this R for a regular bearish divergence because it's red. And overbought because we do have these 2 big red dots inside this red box on the indicator. So that's where I was saying, you know, the indicators, the oscillator 4 and 5 do look overbought. However, that engulfing candle, even though we had that trend exhaustion, is quite interesting to me. So this, you know, if the bears aren't able to pull the trigger when things are looking bearish, I mean, it's not so much look at the bullish action happening, it's look at the bears failing to pull the trigger lately, especially with how dicey sentiment is around the market. Everyone's obviously calling for much lower prices. Everyone's saying that all these fundamental reasons why Bitcoin's going to drop down lower. These things don't matter right now, obviously. So, I mean, the charts will tell the story. The media can always spin whatever article they want to say this is why the price crashed, this is why the price is pumping. In the end, the structure of the chart, if you understand higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, and how structure breaking works, I mean, the charts, yes, you might be a little bit late to the party, but you'll be more confident if you just play the charts rather than the news, I guess, because the way I look at it too is I might not understand the economy as well as I think I do, so analyzing the news is a whole nother form of analyzing. So, you know, just like you can misanalyze a chart, you can screw up your technical analysis, you can really screw up how you interpret the news as well. Just because something doesn't make sense in your own head doesn't mean that it's wrong, and if you don't understand something doesn't mean that it's not right. So that's just me personally. I like to just totally ignore the noise, and I just look at the charts and look for that structure. I think it's more significant, I guess. So as I say, fingers in the ears, eyes on the charts, and yeah, just play it as it comes. Don't get too stuck in feeling the chart has to go a certain direction. Like I always say, it's way more important to be able to react than to predict. So, just something to consider there. Um, Anyone have anything you want to mention or other questions, anything like that? What do I do? Pick coins I think will gain. And yes, I do try to only take trades that go with the trend. For example, right now I'm just not even trying to short. The only way I would consider shorting right now, I guess, is if we had this, right now we have this high back here. If we wicked above this and end up, let's say, closing a red candle and respecting the top of this box as resistance once again, I would consider this a failed break and maybe just a fake out, a bit of a bull trap, and then I would consider playing the short side or swinging at a short there. But until that happens, I'm not that interested. To be honest, I'm not even considering shorting right now, just because, yeah, like you said, I kind of like to go with the trend, and since the 4 hourly trend is obviously to the upside, when I'm looking at the 5 or the 15-minute chart, I'm looking to play the upside as well. And some people are great at calling reversals. The only thing with that is the trend. There is the saying, the trend is your friend until the end, because basically, if you're trying to play a home run trade with a reversal, you only get one reversal. Whereas when you're playing the trend, you have as many opportunities until that trend changes. So right now, for example, if I'm looking at this shorter time frame, let's say we have these highs back here. Now we've obviously broken those highs. Where is our support between those levels? I'd be interested in looking at this level, for example, would be a very strong level of interest for me, especially with the hourly trend confluence coming up to that level. As well, like this mapped out potential support way down here. So I would be interested in those levels if I were looking for a pullback right now. Yeah, things are obviously, I mean, with that big candle, obviously things are looking a little overextended, especially on the 5 minute chart. We have these bearish reversal, trend exhaustion. You can see that the TP sign signal keeps flashing right now. It's not going to stick around until the candle actually closes with it. But you can see that the indicator is definitely saying, like, hey, if you're in a long right now, playing the 5 minute anyways, best be looking to start taking some profits, basically.
Uh, you have it turned off, but on the Algo 3, the kind of the heat map or the liquidity zones. Are you using those, and what do you think about those?
Um, Liquidity zones on the ALGO 3.
Yeah. Right there. The supply and demand. I think you got it clicked on.
Yeah, the supply and demand are these red and green boxes. I didn't make those, the indicator did.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just changed the color because I look at
Oh,
them
okay.
like supply or like resistance and support, even though they're supply and demand. I just say resistance and support just because it's easier to keep straight in my head. And then I map them out green and red just because, you know what, that's basically, as I was saying earlier, it's basically mapping out these support boxes exactly how I would, and same with the resistance. So I've barely had to do any charting since these updates came out. I still like to obviously turn this off and do my own analysis once in a while, but all in all, quite often it's just mapping out the same support boxes as me, for example, and it just makes my job so much easier right now. I am just
I thought,
sorry.
yeah, I thought that was stranded liquidity. Is it just support and resistance boxes?
Well, it's supply and demand, right? So there's there's demand in this zone, but I mean demand is basically support, right? Because where demand steps in, I mean that's where that's getting bought up. So I just refer to it as support and resistance, but technically it's supply demand zones.
Okay. Yeah, I've been I don't know I don't know what's in the secret sauce, but I've been watching them, and I've been watching them. You know, like here, you know, you're solid in that supply zone, uh, uh, and uh, and it'll just it'll stay red, 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 and then and then it just spoofs off.
If
Uh,
it's
yeah,
if it's broken, it will disappear. It'll declutter your charts like as soon as the trend is changing. If that you know supply or resistance level
yeah,
is broken, then it's not as much an area of concern anymore. So then it gets it off your chart. So it just cleans things up a little bit.
I've been
Um,
trying to I've been trying to notice if it when it spoofs off, or like it grabbed the supply or the demand or the liquidity. It's when it sucks it up and it spoofs off. I was thinking, or my theory was that like maybe that's a sign of a reversal potentially. I'm not sure. I haven't been watching these very long enough to really have a good solid sense of what these
Yeah,
zones actually.
like earlier, I can't say for sure, but I'm guessing back here we probably had some kind of whoops. We probably had some kind of a red box, let's say in this area. I know it's green right now, but that was probably red until we broke above it. Then it would have just erased and we would have started flipping areas into support or demand zones, right? I'm not sure if you were here right at the beginning when I was talking about like this is how I often mention in the group chat, for example, that I would look at this as a high, this is a higher high, this would be the higher low because it's the lowest point between the two. And bam, the indicator puts a box up there for me. That's where I would have mapped out my support. So it's mapping out a demand zone there. And then kind of same thing, right? We had our higher high here. Then we set an even higher high. Our higher low is down here, and it mapped out a box once again. So that's how I like to analyze the charts, and that's how this indicator has started acting since the update. That's, I guess, kind of looks to me like that's how it kind of picks where the supply and demand zones are. So very cool that they line up with how I map out resistance and support. So that's kind of why I call it that. But yeah, like if we blast off through this red box during this stream here, let's say in the next half hour, whatever, we bust through here, I'm guessing that this red box is going to erase itself and we'll either see another green one form or we'll have a little pullback and then carry on, and then we'd see a green box form after that. So
Actually, you could kind of see that. Just hit the replay right there in the middle at the top there, the replay.
oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
see
yeah.
it?
Does it
And then
actually do the boxes
yeah,
live there too?
yeah. So you could hit the replay and go back, a little span, and then
Let's
you could,
just go back here, for example.
and then yeah, hit play. They moved it. They moved mine down to the bottom. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. It's weird they moved that.
Oh yeah, so it does create the boxes real time, hey?
Okay, so that flipped, and I'm going back and back, and I'm trying to get some meaning here. Like when these boxes spoof on and off, does that mean like a reversal? Like there's no more attraction in that level. See, like it's going to linger there maybe, and it's going to then turn off.
Yeah.
And
See,
does
as
that
soon as we
mean
actually get as soon as we got a candle close above, it disappeared.
and
And then yeah, basically that would be a short-term reversal, right? Because that resistance or that supply zone is now eaten up, and now we have a new demand zone at that point.
and
Because
it's
this is
heading
this
to
is the area where we found demand. That's where support was found, or there was demand for Bitcoin. And as soon as we broke above that red box, then it
Yeah,
got rid of the red box and created this green box instead. So yeah, it is, I guess you could say, a
yeah, there was fresh new buyers there
yeah.
that, and it made that slender green zone because there was not, because now there's stranded buyers there that could potentially get, wicked out if price comes down.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it broke it broke the zone. It spoofed off, and now it's heading towards its next gravity
Yeah.
source of gravity, which is the next source of gravity is a big red nova sun.
Yeah, way
And,
up at about
you know,
17.7.
yeah, and
Yeah, for
we got
sure.
that way.
And this is where on the 4 hour chart, like I would be interested. Let's say now, we've had a good little run. We're going to pull back. I'd be interested if let's say you start wicking into this box and you're closing green candles, green candle bodies in or on top of this green box. That's where I would definitely be interested in zooming in and seeing if there's a long position to take on that pullback, because there was demand at this level, so that should be a level of support. It's at least a level of interest. So we get a pullback to that level, then it's obviously some kind of a demand zone, so worth looking. Let's say you can zoom in, find double bottom bullish divergences, you're hitting fib lines you like. Just seeing changes, let's say on a shorter time frame, you see all of a sudden you break a lower low structure and you start forming higher highs on a very smaller time frame. Then this might be a level of interest to start looking for some long positions.
And then where it runs is where the food is. If price turns, it'll head down to the green food. And as it is right now, it's like running up to the red food, the red, the liquidity up top.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't linger. It tries to find the food.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm trying to really get because I think this is really next level stuff, and I'm trying to get my head around it.
It's unbelievable.
It's really great tool.
Like yeah, there's not much room in my head anymore for things, but yeah, it's a game changer, honestly. Like I've been pretty vocal in the past that the only indicator I've really used before would be, we go back to my Bitcoin cheat sheet, the RSI. The RSI is the only other indicator I've really made a habit of using in the past, but I barely even use it now. I have it on this chart, but as far as the charts I actually trade, I just have these indicators up. I know, they're just wonderful in my opinion. I think it's a total game changer. Like a guy like me, for example, I like to trade degenerate time frames while I'm playing video games and watching YouTube at the same time, because I have 3 monitors set up. And this just saves me a lot of time. I don't have to always be bouncing around between monitors, readjusting my analysis, potentially over-analyzing things, making mistakes as I'm changing things. Like I went over how it maps out those demand boxes and supply boxes is kind of the way I map out resistance and support already anyways. So I feel like I really don't have to do much anymore. I know I've said that a few times this video, but it's just incredible to me how advanced these indicators have gotten. Like even I think I've been using these for, I don't know, half a year or something like that, and I already loved them back in summer. But with these recent couple of updates, it's a totally different game, and I honestly don't think I would ever day trade again without this indicator. If I'm being completely honest, I just think between the trend confluence and these supply and demand zones, I'm totally sold on it. I think that trend confluence is one of the most powerful things that I've ever seen, just because of being able to kind of have a general idea of a longer time frame and seeing your shorter time frame line up with it, so you don't have to bounce around. And then as far as the supply demand zones, just a convenience thing of not having to do my own not having to spend as much time mapping stuff out. Like it's just so convenient. So I don't know, it's groundbreaking stuff to me. I just absolutely love these indicators.
Yeah, that confluence is great. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, well, not back in the day, you could just split screen, and then you know, on the right hand side, put your 4 hour or 1 hour, you know, on the left hand side. But no, this is so much better. I wonder if we break above this, like if you kind of zoom out but stay on the 4 hour time frame, the next you know, red energy, or I'm referring to it as trapped liquidity, is like way up around you know, 23,500.
Well, and to be quite honest, this is our lower high right now. The way I look at structure, at least, I'm gonna make this a lot bigger here just to really draw your attention to it. That pink line there, I mean, this was our low back in June. This is where I thought the market had bottomed, and I was totally wrong on that. I will fully admit that. And these levels, I was very confident we had bottomed, and we obviously dumped below. But whatever, that's trading. Like I said, more important to be able to react.
FTX dump in there.
What's that?
Yeah, there was that FTX dump. I mean, you may have been totally right. I was right before that dump. Everything I was looking at was pointing up, like we were going up with the bottoms in, and then that beginning of November, I think it was November 5th, 8th.
Yeah, November 5th.
It was like everything was looking up. I was in longs, and then the FTX dump happened.
But look at this. Look at this though. If you go on the daily chart, the indicator knew it was coming.
Yeah.
As far as well, at least the warning signs were there, right? W for warning. Yeah. Obviously, that didn't have to be the top, but the indicator a week ahead of the FTX dump was warning that a dump might be coming. So that's one of those things where when people say, you know, technical analysis doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. The news dumped the price. The news didn't dump the price as much as it should have, in my opinion, for how big of an event that was. And the fact that the algos were already calling it at this level. Let's see what the other indicators were saying. Oscillator 4 had a pivot warning before it as well, a couple days before, about a week before, had this bearish divergence on the Oscillator 5. I mean, the signs were there that was going to happen anyways, but yes, like I said, I was wrong. I wish I took these signals a little more serious, just because also we were fighting with the EMA on the daily as resistance. So yeah, there was signs there, but like I said, whatever. It's more important to be able to react. I had talked about, you know, I'm open to the idea of shorting if we broke some structure and whatnot, but before I went on this tangent here, what I was getting at, we had this low, and after that, this is the only lower low that we had. So the highest point between those two levels is actually all the way up here. So as far as the way I look at structure, not only that, it lines up perfectly with this. So beautiful resistance line there. But that's the level I'm looking at as a lower high as far as a daily time frame goes. So the fact that that lines up perfectly with the very top of this supply box, or this resistance box, is quite interesting. Obviously we do have this structure back here and here, which it's also calling as, you know, potential resistance or whatever. But there is room, in my opinion, to go all the way towards 25k before testing this this lower high. I don't know how likely it would be that we would break it the first time if we did get some sort of a crazy pump. And again, this is a daily time frame, so it's going to take time to play out, even if that does happen. But the warning signs are there. I mean, we just crossed the EMA, or the trend confluence. So this is a daily chart, and the trend confluence on a daily chart is a 3-day confluence. So we actually had a candle body close way above that. So that is actually a beautiful thing from the Bitcoin bulls. Starting to see some trend confluences flip on much larger time frames could be a pretty big deal for at least the midterm, in my opinion. But yeah, like you said, we break through that one resistance box, or supply box, we could be going for quite a climb until we see some bears step back in, really. I do think we would struggle with some of this, some of these, you know.
Or I'm sorry. Why do you say that the trend confluence on the 1 day is the 3 day? Isn't it set? Isn't it hard set?
I
Your
do,
trend?
I do have it on automatic, and I only know that because I screwed around with it. if I
Oh, that's
go, if I go to the 3 day for the trend confluence and turn off the auto settings, that shouldn't move. Oh, it did. Okay, never mind. Things may have changed slightly. Oh, never mind. I'm on the 4 hour. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, here, back to the daily chart. 3 day trend confluence. If I turn automatic back on, nothing should change.
Oh, I got you. So is it? It's. I didn't know that. It's always with auto settings collected. It's always times three, the time frame, or the chart time
No,
frame.
no, I'm not sure if it's something that that MDX and the coders or the development team. I'm not sure if they did back testing or what exactly their criteria was for choosing their trend confluence, because I think anything under an hour uses 1 hour trend confluence. Um, there's some that I weren't even able to find out after, you know, just 5 or 10 minutes of playing around with it. So I'm not sure exactly what the criteria is for the trend confluence. I assume they did some back testing and kind of found out what works best for certain time frames.
I didn't know there was an auto button there. I thought you always had a set. Okay, so well, that's good info. Even if it's something random, it's I'm sure it's
Are you
three
for sure we
times.
updated to version 1.1, not just 1.0? Or
Well, let me turn it.
actually, no, if you have supply and demand as a feature, you definitely are up to date. Yeah, there is the auto setting as well as that, actually. Here, just going to change a couple things. I'm going to turn signals back on. And now what you can do on top of the auto settings, you can actually click filter, and this will only give you the signals that match up with the trend. So this whole downtrend, you're not really getting any long signals unless the trend confluence actually flips. But for the most part, you weren't getting any long signals this whole dump down here other than this one here. So filter can help clean things up. Actually, here, let's just even hop right over to a 5 minute. I'm guessing it'll only be showing me longs. Yeah, so when you have the filter option active, you're not getting a whole bunch of chop. You're not going to see the short signals coming in at these levels. You're only getting the long signals. So just another interesting feature there.
That's so interesting. I did not learn something every day. It's going to be so interesting to see if if we break what's that, like 18,300, 18,250 ish around there.
Yeah,
Like if we break that, does price just sprint, right up to the 21,000? Because that's where our next, that's where the next bottom of the zone is. And
yeah,
it doesn't get hung up anywhere in there.
yeah. Kind of
That would
be
be a shocker. Yeah.
kind of looking at somewhere in this area. Yeah, totally. 21K would make absolutely perfect sense.
I'm sorry. I have a red line. I'm on the daily. I'm sorry. What are you on?
I can go over to the daily here.
Yeah. Why don't I have a red? Yeah, 21. Yeah. 21,000. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. We're showing the same thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I could see resistance up there, but yeah, like you said, that's quite a moonshot right there.
That's something that hasn't. That would be quite interesting. Because I would think that it would want to get hung up in that mess, and that's what I would typically think.
Also,
That mess, to the left and underneath of all that. But I'm going to be watching very carefully if this does break. well, first thing I'm going to do is exit my short, and then watch it. And I'm going to watch with interest to see if it does, or if it does not really get caught up, for any length of, substantial time, and it goes up to that like 21,000 mark.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting. That would mean that this thing is legitimate. It's got a crystal ball built into it somehow.
Yeah. Max and Wizard and MDX are both wizards. However, they whipped up this magic here. But yeah, things aren't looking too bad. Like, even look at, that's a giant ass W that could be playing out, or just like one big cup and handle, perhaps something like that. Like, I'm very curious to see what happens. I don't
actually,
think...
if you look at the volume, it's actually an eve and an eve.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know I have seen that before. I don't know the names of a lot of patterns.
Yeah.
I learned that
So
kind of stuff from you, to be honest.
It's actually an extended one, but I don't know. I'm a little bit opposite. I'm kind of still perma bear.
Yeah.
But I don't care though either. Man, you make money going up and down. It don't matter, So.
Oh, exactly. And some people honestly even like, I have seen you long before in the group chat too. But like, some people do have a bias that they play better with. Like, some people short better, some people long better. And you know what? You could be wrong about the trend. Let's say we trend all the way up here. For all I know, you could short here and take a profit. You could short here, take a profit, short profit, short profit. Like, you could profit the whole way up. It would just obviously take more work and be a little riskier. But
even those daily candles, there's a lot of up and down if you drill into one of those daily candles.
Oh, exactly. I fully expect that we come back down towards 17.6. I think we retest the bottom of this red box, as well as that's where the 3-day confluence is. I think it makes perfect sense that we would retest this level. And that right there, that right there is a decent sized move with a little leverage, right? I mean,
yeah. That's actually my my short entry is like right at like 17,540, something like that, 17,550.
Oh, okay, so, you're still in that.
Yeah. Everything is so overcooked, and I don't know. There's the stupid news tomorrow, and everybody just the price always does stupid shit.
Yeah,
this could be
You also use a lot more realistic leverage than a degenerate like myself. you typically use lower leverage, right?
Yeah, no. The trade I'm in right now is it's actually only a 2x. that's it.
Yes, yes.
So so it's not it's nothing to pro about. But that I'm gonna be so interested to see if that just rocket, like Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket up to 21,000. That would be a real shocker.
Yeah.
People will start talking about 300,000 Bitcoin again and shit.
Oh yeah. And then it's like, no guys, don't say that yet. It's not time. We don't want to sell yet.
No, it's just like everything is just so shitty. All the news is just like, it's just like so shitty.
Yeah.
But
that's I don't know if you saw yesterday, I had mentioned like one thing that's that I take quite seriously because I did well on it last market cycle was paying attention, not so much what news is driving the market, but what news is failing at driving the market. And right now, if there's a ton of bearish news and everything seems like the price should be dumping, but we're getting these pumps on a fairly large time frame, like daily charts looking quite bullish and stuff. I mean, it's interesting that the bearish news isn't affecting the price all that much anymore. So even if things aren't bullish, there's just a lack of sellers, right? It's not even so much that there is a ton of buyers. There's just nobody willing to sell anymore.
Oh, let me see if I can pull it up. I think I saw. Oh man, I don't want to misspeak. Well, let me tell you what I think. Where did I see that? Trying to remember now. But I think it was Coinbase, I believe, and maybe in somebody else in here maybe saw it as well. But it was Coinbase. They loaded up $250 million worth of USDT.
Oh,
Some fresh USDT
yeah.
got loaded on Coinbase.
Okay.
And usually when they load up on the USDT, in the past that's often been like a big downturn, and they need to have on hand the USDT to handle the downturn without like fucking up the exchange. So I think
that's interesting, because if you watch like what is it? There's that one. There's something on Twitter that shows whenever there's been a ton of Tether printed, but I guess that would be a little bit different, because that just means there's a bunch of USDT coming into the market and ready to buy.
Oh, right? Yeah. That's where I think I saw it. I think I saw it on Whale Watch.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, on Twitter. I was reading a lot today too. I was probably Whale Watch, but yeah, they minted it, which I don't know how you mint it. But,
yeah.
And then they deposited it I'm pretty sure it was Coinbase.
Okay.
So let me pull up Whale Watch. Let me see if I can. Or am I even saying that right? Let me get up.
Yeah, that sounds right. Whale Watch would be a thing for sure.
Twitter, again. I don't remember. All this shit just automatically pops up. So
yeah.
That's why.
Here, I'm just basically gonna let the 5-minute run here. If nobody else has any questions, we're totally just gonna shoot the shit here for a little bit. I'll let the 5-minute play with the indicators up, that sort of thing. 5-minute, definitely getting some mixed signals here. 5-minute, the ALGO 3. Well, the oscillator 4 once again has that bearish pivot, overbought, trend exhaustion. However, the ALGO 3 also has this blue triangle, which is a potential bottom. So a little bit of conflicting stories on the ALGO 3 here. I agree it looks pretty overbought, overextended, but it is crypto. I mean, when things get volatile, they can get very volatile. Something I just noticed actually over here, I had said that we were still not long on the daily, but we were bullish. We obviously just flipped long, so there must be a long signal if I were a betting man, which I definitely am. Yeah, finally got that long signal, so that's another point for the bulls there. Another point for the bulls that we just got this daily close 15 minutes ago, and we got that confirmed long signal on the daily. Like I said, closed, half the candle closed above the 3-day trend confluence there, so beautiful. But again, guys, just be a little cautious. We do have this potential supply zone resistance up ahead. But yeah, as the overall trend goes, I like where Bitcoin is sitting. That just looked so beautiful to me that even though everything was overextended, we got that engulfing bullish candle. Create another high, retested that little level so perfectly on a micro time frame there, and just blasted off. That played out absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it was whale alert. 250 million USDC transferred to Coinbase. They did that several times. Oh, let me turn.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're getting a bit of feedback from old secret man Sam there.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there you go. There, you're on the air.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to add to Stock Poker's Coinbase talk. So they're also laying off 20% of their staff.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I think this, not to be the bear in the room, but
Yeah.
I think these. Well, first of all, it's ironic to me how what we're seeing right now. If we were in a bull market, it's nothing. it's always ironic how the market just conditions you one way or the other to get used to certain things, and it's gotten us used to grinding. And we've gone up like $1,000 in the last couple days, and it's interesting because nothing we've been ground down so hard, and like nothing's been happening. But yeah, I think maybe we're gonna see a little bull market rally. I'm sorry, a bear market rally. You know,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like this is the trend. You just got to stick with the trend. I really. Anybody else in here that doesn't know the trend is your friend? Like that's really the best way to do it. That's why I like watching your reviews, man, because we can talk about all these other things aside from the chart, but the chart is the truth. You know, up to the
100%.
second. So nobody knows what's going to happen. I just feel like, having been around the block a bunch of times, I'm an old dude, and I've seen this before, man. This doesn't end well. It doesn't,
Yeah.
just to put it in a nutshell, this doesn't end well. But if you have your cash on the side, if you've played the last year and a half the right way, and you're ready to go, then things look good in the future, in the long term, But yeah, I think we're gonna have to. There's so much liquidity still out there, There's just people waiting for something to happen,
Yeah. Yeah, I think if anything, we're going to see this bear market rally. Everyone's going to start FOMOing in right around 25K, and then we'll probably take a retest a little lower. But I mean, we'll have to see. Another thing with that is I know a lot of you have probably seen this before. Just going to erase some of my own shit here. I still strongly believe a bull market rally could go all the way up to like 48K. That's something that it doesn't have to happen. Yes, there's a ton of resistance along the way, but I just really have that feeling we're going to retest the 618 Fibonacci as far as the resistance level. Not only is that a fib level that's respected a lot, but just the fact that we even have that structure there. I really have a strong feeling that we're going to at some point see a bear market rally all the way up there and then kind of retest that, 28, 32. Basically where we had our temporary support during the consolidation before we had our second leg of our bear market there. I think that we will eventually. I think we'll struggle here a little bit, but I don't think we're going to see the harsh rejection everyone's thinking that we're going to get. I think we'll struggle here, get above, retest this line way up here, 618, and then I think we'll come back and retest this level as support and then carry on a new bull market. And there's a lot of sleeps between now and then. I gotta be very specific. I don't think we're blasting right to 48K or nothing like that. But that's just a level I really like to point out to everybody. Get that that price target on your radar just for when it comes. Don't be like the people who are gonna FOMO in and get wrecked at that level. Or understand that if you're okay buying at these levels, if you are FOMOing in, understand we might get a pullback to some of these lower levels.
Yeah, if anything, it's time to FOMO in now.
I don't know. Were you here at
What
the
were you
beginning?
waiting
I was
for?
talking about this this support level here. I mean, that's absolutely beautiful on the way up. Finding a double bottom there. Had the structure back here. Just in case anyone in here is new, since there was a few new faces here, I guess I should explain in further detail here the reason why I'm looking at this level up here, not only the 618 and that there is that structure here. I know this is going to be repetitive for some of you who have been here before, but bear markets love to do that. You can see that this previous bear market, that's where we got rejected. We had that big rejection, get a weekly close above that level, blast the fuck off. Go back to this cycle back here. Let me just stretch that out a little bit. Same thing, got this harsh rejection right here, 618. Get our weekly closes above that level, blast the fuck off. Go back as far as this tiny ass little correction here, which was actually, like I said, bear markets love to correct 80-85%. That little price wick here in this 2 weeks was a 82% correction. This as well, anytime we get that serious correction, you can see that the 618 level is just a level of interest. Got very close there. Get our weekly close above that level, blast the hell off once again. So that's why I'm looking at that 618 level. I just wanted to be very clear about that for anyone who's new here and doesn't know why I was pointing out that level. We start getting weekly candle bodies closing above this purple line, and I am going to be one excited person.
It's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. Like sooner rather than later, eventually.
Yeah, I think, I think this year might be boring. I absolutely see the reason why we could just kind of, give one of these or whatever for the most of the year. Let's say 6 months, 12 months, whatever could absolutely happen. I'm not saying the bull market's going to kick right off here or anything, but I do think the worst of the bear market is over at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about 2023 is going to be the world kind of dealing with what's on its plate, digging itself out of hard times, and 2024 should be better. I don't think we're going to moon to $100,000 Bitcoin anytime soon, but for anybody who's new in here, this is a time to really learn. Take this time where there's not a whole lot of volatility to learn TA, to learn about whatever investments that you're interested, whether it's crypto or not. Because when you get into that bull market, there's no time to step away from the charts and learn something new. And
I know I've heard MDX mention it in his videos before that he remembers a specific time when we broke out of the previous bear market and we got a crazy bull market. Little pump, and he basically sat back. He was like, I'm done. I don't have to do anything now. I am just like, I'm set. Whatever I got. Time to wait it out, basically. And a lot of people don't see it that way, right? A lot of people are like, oh, well, once the bull market kicks back in, then yeah, I'll start trading again. Well, yeah, it's easier because you have a more clear trend, I guess, but at the same time, like, do your homework now.
What are you catching in that net?
Hey guys, actually, I just realized that this stream has been going for almost an hour and a half, so just for uploading sake, I am going to end the stream here. I will stick around though while I'm uploading stuff and whatnot. We can keep chilling and talking about stuff, but I said, it always takes hours for these streams to upload, so I kind of want to get a start on that now. But like I said, I will stick around with you guys, so for those of you seeing this from my YouTube channel, for those of you who appreciate being able to get an inside look at this VIP Discord group here and seeing what we're kind of talking about and getting a look at the indicators and stuff, do me a favor, smash that like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, obviously. If you do find these MDX ALGO indicators interesting, I believe it's like $70 a month or something like that. I do have a link in the description down below with a referral link there. You'd get 15% off, I believe, if it is something that you care to try. If you do sign up, be sure to get involved with the private Discord community as well, much like what we're doing right here. It's full of active traders of all levels, a very strong supportive community. So be sure to check that out as well if you do sign up. There's a ton of value there as well, obviously. Anyways, friends, obviously none of this has been financial advice. Always do your own research, form your own opinions. But if you appreciated this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.